What's one of the single biggest hurdles for any company trying to go global? It's not just about logistics or supply chains, it's about the people. So, in the next few minutes, we're going to do a deep dive, a masterclass, if you will, into the super complex world of the global workforce. This is an absolutely critical skill for any leader today. Check out this quote. It just perfectly captures the kind of surprises you can run into. For years, everybody thought China had this endless supply of labor. But then, boom, things changed. Suddenly, companies were building dorms with swimming pools and karaoke rooms just to get people to come work for them. It's a wild example of how fast the ground can shift under your feet, forcing a total rethink of your people strategy.
And that's really the billion-dollar question, isn't it? How do you manage your most important asset, your people, when the world is just so unpredictable? It's so much more than just hiring. It's about navigating this tangled web of different cultures, laws, and economies to build a team that can win anywhere. Welcome to the world of global human resource management.
Let's be clear, getting this right gives a company a massive, massive competitive advantage. But getting it wrong? Oh, it can completely torpedo a company's entire international strategy. The stakes are just incredibly high because, at the end of the day, people are the engine that makes any global business actually go. So, what is this thing, GHRM, exactly? Well, think of it as the master playbook for a company's people operations, but on a worldwide scale. It covers literally everything from figuring out who you need to hire in Brazil, to how you train a manager in Germany, to making sure you're paying an employee in India fairly, and tying all of that back to the company's big picture goals. But here's the thing. A company's HR strategy doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's not created in a vacuum. It is constantly being shaped and reshaped by these huge forces out in the world. So let's take a quick look at what those are. You can see how a company's HR plans are always being pushed and pulled by these big factors. I mean, a recession hits, hiring plans change overnight. A new technology comes out, suddenly whole skill sets might be obsolete. A government changes an immigration law, your entire labor supply can change. And culture, well, culture influences absolutely everything. And this brings us to what is maybe the biggest challenge in all of global HR. It's this constant balancing act. On one hand, companies want convergence, one simple, consistent, efficient system for everyone, everywhere. But on the other hand, they desperately need divergence, the flexibility to adapt to local cultures, local laws, local everything. Think about it. Do you have one global pay scale, or do you adjust for every single market? That's the core tension right there. So how does this whole balancing act actually play out in the real world? Well, it all kicks off with the first two tools in the GHRM toolkit: planning and staffing. You see, smart global HR planning isn't just guesswork. It's a really deliberate, strategic process. It has to start by linking directly to the company's main strategy. Then you scan the outside world for threats and opportunities. And only then do you start figuring out what work needs doing and who's actually out there to do it. Okay, before we go any further, you've got to know the lingo. A PCN, or parent country national, is, say, an American working for a U.S. company over in Japan. An HCN, or host country national, is a Japanese citizen working for that same company, right there in Japan. And a TCN, a third country national, that might be a German manager working for that U.S. company, but based in the Japan office. Why does this matter? Because each type brings a totally different perspective and a different set of challenges. All right, so you've found the right people. Now, how in the world do you get them ready to succeed in such a complex global environment? Well, that's where training and development come in. And we're not just talking about memorizing a list of cultural do's and don'ts. No way. The best global training, like what's shown in this case model, is all about developing higher-level thinking. It's designed to push people beyond just comprehending a new culture to being able to analyze tricky situations, synthesize brand new solutions, and evaluate the best way forward. So how do companies actually build this kind of global competency? Just think of the 4 T's. It can happen through short-term travel, longer-term transfers as an expat, working on global teams, or of course, through formal training programs. More often than not, it's a mix of all 4 that really creates a leader who can think globally. Okay, so you've planned your workforce, you've staffed it, and you've trained your team. Now, how do you manage their performance and figure out how to pay them? This is where it gets really, really complicated. The crucial thing to remember here is that performance management is not a one-time thing. It's not just the annual review. It's a continuous cycle of setting goals, coaching, and then doing the formal appraisal. And in a global company, it's this constant loop that keeps everyone in every country aligned and feeling supported. And when you get to the topic of pay, believe me, one size does not fit all. For an expatriate you're sending from headquarters, you're thinking about things like hardship allowances and housing stipends. But for your local, host country employee, the focus is all are being competitive in their local market and following their local laws. Trying to balance those two things is a huge, huge challenge.
So you can see how this all comes back to our central theme, right? It's this constant, really delicate balance between thinking on a global scale and acting on a local one. That tension is right at the heart of every single decision in global HR.
And here is the final and maybe most important point. That old idea of a race to the bottom, just finding the cheapest labor possible no matter the conditions, that's being replaced. The best companies today are in a race to the top. They're finally realizing that having strong safety and labor standards isn't just the right thing to do, it's a real competitive advantage that builds an amazing global reputation. This whole conversation leaves us with a pretty fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As technology just completely blurs all these geographic lines, what does it even mean to be a local company anymore? In the end, managing a global workforce isn't just some HR function tucked away in a corner office. It's at the absolute core of what it means to be a successful business in the world today.